Okay, hello and welcome to Jane's English. So if you're new here, I'm Jane, I'm the English teacher. And if you know me already, welcome back. So today we are talking about different words for customer. So when you go to a restaurant, are you a customer or are you a guest? If you took paid lessons with me, would you be my client or would you be my student? Do psychologists treat patients or clients? Are you a passenger or are you a guest on a long-distance train? How about if you go to a music concert or the theatre or a theme park? What are patrons, viewers, subscribers, supporters and members? It's all quite confusing, right? So keep watching and we will go through them all one by one. So before we start, I just want to answer a few questions that some of you asked me after the last video. The first one is about subtitles. Are there subtitles? So yes, there are. If you click on the CC button on the bottom right of your screen and select English, then you will get English subtitles. So I typed in the English ones, so they're an exact transcription of everything that I say. You might find other languages in there as well, but those ones are auto-translated, so they won't be perfect. They might be a bit strange in some places, okay? All right, so the second question, can you slow this video down? So I'm trying to speak more slowly this time than last time because of some of your feedback. But yes, if you're using Chrome, you can slow it down. So click on the settings icon right next to the CC, bottom right of the screen, and choose a speed selector. Okay, I recommend you change it to 0.75, which is a little bit slower. You could make it much slower, but then my voice would become really weird. So I wouldn't recommend that, okay? It will be too slow. Okay, and then the third question, the last one that you asked, is how do you subscribe? So there is a subscribe button just below the video, also on the right-hand side, just click it, and then these videos will show up in your subscriptions tab, so they'll be easier to find for you. If you want a notification every time a new video comes out, then you also have to click the bell. Okay, so they're two separate things, subscriptions and notifications, and it's all free. All right? Okay, so let's get started. Let's have a look at these scenarios, and then as you're watching, try to work out the rules of when we use each of these terms, okay? All these terms, different ways of describing customers or people who pay for goods and services. All right, let's watch. So did you get it? So a general rule is that the words describe the relationship. So the relationship between the person providing the product and service and the person paying. So let's have a chat about each of the terms. And then at the end, we're going to talk about a few confusing words. So the most basic word for someone who spends money on something is customer. A customer is someone who pays for pre-existing goods, physical products like an ice cream or a book or a new car. So you can also use the word customer for services, as long as those services are not customized or tailored to you. So for example, your phone subscription or your water supply. So when the service is customized for you, we tend to use the word client, but we're going to come back to clients in a little bit, okay? So let's talk about the phone supply or the water supply again. So you could also be called a subscriber in this situation, because a subscriber is a type of customer who pays a regular fee, all right? So you're a phone line subscriber. You might also have a newspaper subscription, so that makes you a newspaper subscriber. Or in our case, we have a box of vegetables that gets delivered every week from a farm. So we're farm box subscribers, okay? Netflix, Microsoft Office, anything that you pay for that comes to you, services or goods that are not particularly customized. All right, the word subscriber can be a bit confusing now, because of course, if you click subscribe to this channel, you're going to get English videos and you're not paying anything at all. So you are subscribers, but you're not customers. All right, but it's English. English is confusing. Okay, so the word guest is used when the customer is supposed to be relaxing. So places that are connected with holidays and leisure activities tend to call their customers guests. So this includes, for example, like hotels, spas, parks, restaurants. Some food places do actually use the word customer, but the word guest feels more relaxing. So definitely the higher end restaurants would say guest, not customer. It makes us feel as though the staff are more focused on us and less focused on making money. So guests can also be used for forms of public transport. We tend not to use guest for commuters traveling to work, but we definitely use it for those longer trips where people are going on vacation. So long flights, luxury coaches, long distance trains, things like that. So it's back to the image of the word guest being associated with relaxing. The word customer is always associated with money, and we quite often try to avoid that. Okay, so for daily commuters, we use the word passengers a lot of the time. So it doesn't have an association with money like customer. So passenger can be used for flights and longer journeys as well. And then lastly, we have taxis. So generally taxis are for short journeys, and we mostly just use the word passenger, although they are sometimes called fare, which literally does mean money. So the original meaning of fare is the fee that you spend on the journey, but it's also used in some situations to refer to the customer themselves, okay, or the passenger themselves. All right, our next one, a patient is a person who receives treatment or advice from some kind of trained medical professional, like a doctor or a dentist. So if you remember the thumbnail from the start of this video, nobody wants to go to the doctor and be aware that the doctor is thinking about money when they're treating us. We want the doctor to be focused on our health, right? Okay, and then we come to client. So client is the one that's often confused with customer. Clients pay for services, and clients are not usually considered customers. So if you remember, customers buy pre-existing products and services that are not customized or tailored. But if you talk to a lawyer or a counselor, then the issues you need help with are unique to you. So if they're unique to you, that lawyer or counselor has to provide a service which is only suitable for you. So that's why that makes you a client. Okay, so a good example is my sister. So she hand makes jewelry with stones that she finds on the beach. So she actually has customers and clients, because customers buy the pieces of jewelry that she has made already, and then she just sells them on the website. And she didn't design those pieces with any particular person in mind, right? But then she also has clients who order something bespoke, for example, a wedding ring. So for those people, she gets to know them, she finds out their needs, and she designs something specifically for them. So they would be called clients. All right? Okay, so the next one is you guys, students. So students are people who are learning something. So in the UK, students who are children are called pupils, but everyone else is a student. So if the lessons are in a class type setting, whether they're online or offline, then generally the teacher will spend a lot of time customizing the lesson to the needs of the individual students in that class. So we would never be able to call the students customers because actually there's too much customization. All right. So students do fall under the umbrella of clients because they're receiving a service that's being customized. But if a student bought, for example, an online course, a set of videos or multiple choice questions where there was no input from the teacher, then they would be a customer because there's no customization. So it's not very logical, but an easy way to remember it is that customers don't get customization. So 2 words that are evolving and changing their meaning with all the online content that we have nowadays are patron and supporter. So the traditional meaning of the word patron is a regular customer at a shop or a pub, but this use is less common these days, although you do sometimes see it in signs. We still use it as a more formal alternative for library users, even though using the library is free. Its second meaning is the one that's more important for you, as it's quite widely used today, and that's a person who gives financial support to a charity, an artist, or some other creator. So there's actually even a company called Patreon, they just added an E in there, which was set up by a musician looking for a way to find support for his music videos on YouTube. And it comes from the verb to patronize. So you have to be careful with patronize. It's one of those crazy English verbs that has 2 completely different meanings. So the meaning related to the word patron is support. All right, so far so good, it makes sense. But unfortunately, patronize also means to demean somebody, put somebody down, make them feel bad about themselves. So be careful with that word patronize. Of course, add to the confusion, Patron's also a brand of tequila. Okay, so the other half of this is supporters, right? So we have football supporters, and they are just fans of a team, and they probably spend money, but they don't necessarily spend any money at all. And then we have supporters of charities who donate to a chosen charity out of goodwill. So they don't get anything back other than satisfaction in this type of support. But nowadays you'll see online newspapers asking for support so they can keep going, keep providing the news for free. Okay, Wikipedia asks for your support once a year, where they ask you to make a donation to support them. So this is linked to that second meaning of patron, because whether you pay or not, it doesn't change the service that you get, right? But it is kind of changing because nowadays some people ask you to support them, and then when they ask you to support them, you will get extra things. So particularly in the gaming world, you will see become a channel supporter to receive exclusive merchandise or something like that. So when you're becoming a supporter, you're actually in some ways a subscriber or a customer because you are getting content or goods for the money that you're spending. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk to you about is what I mentioned at the beginning, where people get confused. So we talked about patience. So this is a noun. Singular, patient, one patient. Plural, two patients. Okay? There's another noun with the same pronunciation and a different meaning and a different spelling. Patience, spelt with CE at the end. So patience is an uncountable noun, and it's the ability to be able to wait or to do something slowly without getting irritated. It's related to the adjective patient, which is spelled exactly the same as the singular hospital patient. So, for example, learning English takes a lot of patience. It can sometimes be frustrating, so you need to be patient. Don't worry, you're definitely improving. All right? Okay, so that was the thing that people often confuse that I wanted to tell you about. So the main message for today is that the word customer makes people think of money. So in some situations, this can make people feel uncomfortable, so we try to use other words instead. The word client is used for services that are customized. But even when people are clients, we quite often use other words for particular types of services. And then most importantly, you guys are students. And if you would like to become subscribers, click the subscribe button. And don't worry, it won't make you customers because subscribing is free. Okay, thanks for listening, everyone, and I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.